The action RPG Granblue Fantasy Relink came out after 7 years of development, and I think about it when it's not around. The game is beautiful. Its floating sky islands and their lush environments full of detail and quest-giving NPCs immerse you in this fantasy world, with great skyboxes and draw distance that make you want to take a break from the adventure to rotate the right stick around a bit. The main campaign is only about 10 to 12 hours long. That's half the length of what previews said, and shorter than these people. They're so cute! There are extravagant action set pieces and boss fights that are epic enough to make it feel like you got your money's worth. The music is really amazing too, being both exciting and deep with texture. I'm a simple man. I hear counter melodies in the woodwind parts. I listen. The game runs great on the PS5, and the frame rate remains constant, keeping everything running. The PC port came out as well, and it's good! Except for the usual crashing on cutscenes and those people who complain that they can't get it to work on their outdated toaster PC. Aw, do you need some thermal paste for your boo-boo? The action RPG combat is fun, quick, and precise, minus some strange lock-on issues and floaty air physics. Each character is unique in their own way, and while their basic attacks, air combos, perfect parries, and dodges start out similar, each has a different playstyle and mechanics that make them unique and refreshing to play. There are all-rounder characters with a slightly slow yet satisfying combat style, rapid-fire nimble fighters, and ranged fighters with guns. There are big, heavy-hitting tanks who are slow but powerful, and complex magical characters who require a bit more practice. But all characters share the Link attacks and Skybound art special attacks that, when prompted, allow you to attack together for big damage. Say attack again. Attack. There is plenty of replayability here, trying out different characters, playstyles, doing lots of combos, flashy chain attacks, and maximizing my characters through the different upgrade systems. Those systems include leveling up a very long skill tree with offensive and defensive sections, equipping different sigils that give passive abilities like more HP to more damage when at low HP. You have weapon crafting and an upgrade system for your weapons. There's a quest counter with things to do that will give you plenty of materials that you can use to complete sub-quests from the local townsfolk and help max out the levels of those weapons and sigils. There's also this special mechanic where you play a lot and get good and eventually become a badass, but your experience may vary. All of this grind and effort will move you further toward that ever-important goal of making that all-important bronze power level number go up. The story is just okay. It's a standard RPG story about a bunch of adventurous skyfarers who, with the magic of friendship and kicking butt together, are the only ones who can save the world. It's pretty standard for this kind of game, but the characters are cool, they are energetic, upbeat, and positive, the voice acting is solid, yes, even the English dub, and there are some really great playable action set pieces, and enough twists and turns that may surprise you. The game is linear, but won't waste your time with too many useless cutscenes, but if that's too much for you, the cutscenes are skippable. As this game is considered a JRPG, I've been reflecting on my role-playing past, and I remember what it was like back in the day when the characters were this big and really pixelated and we had to read everything. Today you have pixel remasters and remakes coming out. Back in my day, we had to play the retro RPGs of legend on a CRT Square TV. You young people have it so good these days. Currently, Granblue Fantasy Relink continues the tradition of JRPGs and by association, anime cliches by having an 11-year-old girl who's already a magical prodigy and talks about how much of a lady she is. The 50-year-old gruff adventurer who likes to drink a lot. A young protagonist who is adventurous and selfless while being younger than most of the cast. The sexy, mature lady who in this game should have Spanish guitar play when she shows up.
Rosetta.
There are a bunch of pretty boys who are designed to be a mix of Tales of and Korean MMOs. The overpowered henchman who has plot armor for most of the game and is completely unbeatable until the game lets you, then he's too easy. The annoying flying dragon who sounds like every dubbed young anime kid ever. A quest to defeat monsters who are all of a different element. So that means ice level, fire level, wind level, earth desert level, etc., etc. There's also the hot and or cute, yet not quite a furry character. Fairy, with those ears and that bare back, blue hair, and just a hint of side boob. She's just so... And I mean the technologically advanced evil empire. I think it's a church. Oh yeah, I mean a corrupt church with vaguely defined beliefs. That's it. Overall, I recommend Granblue Fantasy Relink. It's a competent game that I can't stop playing, despite the fact that I'm a jaded old man and can't help but notice some cracks in the armor in what is otherwise an amazing game. And now, let's get ready for nitpicking! Granblue takes a cue from Xenoblade, which came out in 2010 and showed the world that it's okay to have characters talking all the time, even when fighting, because it builds immersion. It does do that in Granblue, but the forced walking sections, or this part where you have to just stand around while something activates, are a design flaw. Gamers know the difference between building up the tension and just wasting our time because you had to hide a loading zone or whatever, but I never got annoyed by the constant talking because I was too busy fighting monsters. Some other frustrations about the otherwise excellent Relink: you can choose from a lot of side quests and pick a random mission to grind for resources or fight a boss you liked. It's a lot better than running around the map trying to find mobs, but not as immersive. The game is very linear. It gives the illusion that you're going all over this beautiful world, but really it's just a graphic on a map. I'm old enough to remember Skies of Arcadia. I want to fly a ship around a giant open world again, or just a classic world map like Final Fantasy VI. Missed opportunity. When you do have a map to explore, it's basically a straight line with a few branching pathways for items or a chest minigame where you collect crystals. Alright, crystals. Let's just add that to our cliché list. Here we go. The explorable areas are small and designed so that you can easily find the next battle or story point. There's a few bigger areas like this desert, but its grandeur is short-lived. At least you won't get lost. The streamlined nature of the game doesn't waste your time, but I feel the immersion of this world and the joy of exploration is less impactful since I don't get to explore on my own. The combat is satisfying. The combos are flashy, but are they too flashy, as there are a lot of particle effects, especially when in a group of 4. When there are a lot of enemies on screen, it can get very Muso-ish, and the screen becomes a mess of bright lights and red enemy health bars. Sometimes you get hit because the enemy's attacks, while usually telegraphed, are hard to see in the flurry of particle effects. There is another issue when it comes to boss fights, though, and by that I mean dodge the circles on the floor. 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 The circles of death are usually a dark red and indicate that a big attack is coming. For some reason they're usually way too big and the attack is too fast for you to react sometimes. They can be small as well as different colors or have multiple layers to them. Some even fill up to indicate a timed attack. Maybe you might get a line instead of a circle. This is where it borrows from most MMO raid bosses. The bosses also have overdrive, which is where they become super powerful, take almost no damage, and, you guessed it, more circles. I understand that you can't have the enemy stagger all the time where he's constantly stun locked, and you also can't have 100% uptime on overdrive, so you need balance in your combat system. They did this by having your attacks lower a gauge that will eventually stop the overdrive. But since the bosses have some really strong overdrive attacks, like doing a giant AoE cutscene attack, or going out of attack range and just shooting crap at you, or blowing you back with wind, or making more red lines to dodge, it's a bit overlong and you end up waiting a bit. I even had the character in my party say, "Focus on evasion, everybody." In general, I wish the game would relax with the circles, make things more visible and discernible on the battlefield, and I would also like less waiting around for boss phases to end. Are you done yet? Fine. I'll just wait behind this icicle then. The non-main party characters are unlockable. They are not part of the main story. You don't meet them on your journey, you just meet random people like this masked lady and this gruff man who likes money. You learn the backstory of the characters by watching a series of still images and cutscenes that do give the character higher stats when completed, but simply telling me who this character is without allowing me to gradually and naturally learn about their personality and motivations through a story where I get to meet them, it feels incomplete for a game with 7 years of development. This game pulled a Final Fantasy 15 and had a lot of extra content outside of the game that you had to watch to understand the story. They released an anime for free on YouTube, so you had to watch that and play Granblue Fantasy on mobile to get everything. Plus, the Skyfarer crew are friends when the game begins, so you don't gradually get to meet the team and bond with them. Overall, it's a little short on character development. The characters that are unlocked are not included in cutscenes either. All of this makes it hard to get to know these recruitable characters, and you know that samurai girl with the big boobs? I really want to get to know her. Despite my nitpicks, I'm having so much fun playing this game, and I just get lost in the adventure, action, and world. It's just a joy and a privilege that this game finally came out after all its years of development, and doesn't disappoint. Granblue Fantasy Relink is an action RPG that will excite, delight, and ignite your RPG life. Highly recommended. I give Granblue Fantasy Relink 4.5 giant evil gods defeated by the magic of friendship out of 5. This is Dan T from Twisted Banana Productions, waiting for Cygames to release that Uma Musume DLC pack. Please?